and welcome to Organic Matters, the podcast brought to you by the Irish Organic Association. And you'll hear some hustle and bustle in the background, and that is because it's a very important day today. The European Commissioner for Agriculture, Janusz Wojciechowski, is coming to an organic farm. But as we wait for the European Commissioner, we're very, very lucky to have the Minister here, Minister Pippa Hackett. Minister, you must be excited. It must be kind of proud that the Commissioner is coming to an organic farm in Ireland.
Absolutely, and it's wonderful to see. You know, I think it's been challenging across Europe in agriculture, and I think one thing the Commissioner actually said towards the start of his mandate, I wrote it down at the time because I thought it was striking, basically that his general target was at the end of his mandate that it should be visible that European agriculture is more friendly for the environment, for climate, for animal welfare, and that agriculture policy is more friendly for farmers. And for me, I think organic farming encapsulates all of that, and you know, it's wonderful that he is coming here to see an Irish organic farm, family farm, and exciting times ahead, I think, for organic farming in general.
And because you're from an organic farm yourself, I know you're farming, and you've always been promoting it. I guess, was it a surprise then when the CAP plan came back, the Irish CAP plan, and they said they wanted more ambition for organics in Ireland?
It was a little bit of a surprise in one sense because we're coming off such a low base in Ireland, but you know, they did warmly welcome our ambition. Look, they'd love to see us go more, and wouldn't we all? But you know, I think we have to almost learn to walk before we can run at this stage, and to move from less than 2% to 7.5% of our agricultural land under organic production in the next 5 or 6 years is a big step. And I'm confident that with the help of my department and Teagasc and the organic certification bodies, I think there's been a huge strides have been made to open up the door for organics. I mean, there's the number of farm walks this year has been never seen before. I mean, that's great to see.
Because you have been talking to a lot of organic farmers. I mean, what did they tell you are the barriers, or even the farmers who think about getting into organics? I mean, what are the barriers? Is it the housing requirement? Is it the payment level? What is it?
I think it's a mixture of everything, and I think underlying it all is that worry about making a change or a step or perceived change, because I think for many farmers actually the change, if they actually sit down with another organic farmer or even their advisor or one of the members of the OCB, when they talk through what they may or may not need to do, it might be that challenging. I think if you're coming obviously from a very intensive production model, that's going to be a challenge, but I think for the vast majority of our farmers in Ireland, certainly look at it, chat to someone who knows a bit about it, and see what's in it and what can be done.
Talking to a lot of farmers out there, double funding has been a huge issue. Have you raised that in the plan that you're resubmitting to the European Commission?
It is something that it certainly has been raised with me in the past, and I am aware of it, and I know it's sort of a size dependent issue as well. So if you're a smaller organic farmer, it's something you might come up against. We're cognizant of all of those issues, and we're cognizant of things like the payment rates, so we're still working on those. I think when we come back and the plan is finalised, I think people will be happy with what we've come up with.
So there have been some changes made to the plan, have there?
Well, look, we're still in negotiations in terms of what changes we can make, but even this year we did make changes in terms of the minimum stocking rate, and we increased the area that payments can be made, and I think those are positive steps. Look, the budget has been increased fivefold. That's significant. And
are you worried about getting the farmers in? Because even the tranche opened again this year, and very few farmers, in comparison to the funding, actually applied. And even the application phase was extended to try and get more farmers to apply.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're in this transitionary period, and there's always we saw the concerns even last year around farmers. We introduced the REAP scheme, and farmers are making the decision: do I go in for this, or do I go in for organics? Do I do the tillage incorporation scheme? This year is somewhat the same. To be honest, I was pleased with the level of return this year. We've nearly 400 new farmers this year, along with the 300 odd from last year. You're talking about 700 new farmers in the last 2 years in organics, off a base of about 1,600. That's a significant start, given I suppose a little bit of uncertainty and a little bit of fear. I think when we reach that critical mass, which I'm confident we will reach, we're going to see a far more positive, outward-facing image of organic farming, because it's difficult, because there is criticism. Some sectors have clearly don't warm to it, but I think any farmer I've met who has gone organic certainly has embraced it, and I think there's a lot who would say they would never go back.
Is it fair that the payments next year are going to be higher for tillage and dairy, or those going into conversion, than for those in beef?
Those were the actions really of the organic strategy, and that has been in place for a couple of years now. Before I took office, the identification of those strong market areas, so your grains, your dairy, and indeed horticulture. So those were always going to be the targeted areas. I think something like horticulture in particular, because it's such a small land mass area, we did have to look at that. You couldn't apply the same rate, if somebody only has 2 acres versus a large farm. So look, they're there. Nobody's been forced to apply. I think people who are interested certainly look into it, examine it, talk to the people, and see if it's something they're interested in. I think we know that the organic market is growing across Europe. That is our key market for organic produce, plus our own domestic market. I think there's a lot we can do domestically.
I won't hold you much longer, but the rate of inflation, in particular for poultry farms, organic poultry farms, I talked to a lot of organic poultry farmers, and the derogation that was there for feed, and also the derogation that was there for buying pullets in that weren't organically raised, is gone. There's a lot of poultry farms out there struggling, and a lot of organic farms maybe struggling with the cost of feed. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, no, I totally am aware, but I know my department has been, is over and back with the Commission on this, because ultimately this is it's a decision we can't take unilaterally. So certainly I'm supportive of any derogation we can get to support either the feed or the pullets issue. It's important we keep those sort of sectors in business. And look, the department and the government have rolled out supports across all sectors. Whatever we can do for this, I'd like to see us follow suit.
Thank you very much for that. I'm looking forward to the Commissioner arriving.
Indeed we are. It'll be good. Thank you.
We're here now with the Commissioner for Agriculture, Janusz Wojciechowski. You've seen the whole farm, but Ireland is known for being a very green country, and yet less than 2% of farms in the country are organic. Does that disappoint you or concern you that Ireland has so few organic farms?
Ireland is a country with huge potential for development of the organic farming. Yes, you're right that it is now about 2% of land under organic management. We have in European Union ambition to have 25% of land under organic management. In Ireland, according to the strategic plan project, is planned 7.5%. This is big increase of the area under organic farming. But in this farm, that first observation is that farmers, they have no problem with high level of the fertilizer prices. This is now the main concerns of the millions of farmers in European Union. But the organic farmers now there is their profit, that they are not dependent from the fertilizers, from the pesticides. But in this farm we can see that organic farming can be also productive farming. But this is very important to have the well-organized system, all organic system. This is not only question of the farming. This is the question of the processing industry, how to produce like this food for the
oats,
from the oats.
Oats.
Yes, yeah. This is very important. Has the processing industry and the system of distribution of the organic food.
You mentioned the 25% target that's there, and Ireland has a 7.5% target. Is that ambitious enough?
I think that we need to be realistic. I think that to increase from the 2% to 7.5%, this is ambitious challenge. Possible to have more if many farmers, more and more farmers will be interested about the organic farming. It can be achieved the better result. This is the 25%. This is the political target for whole European Union. But we have a different situation across the member states. There are member states with like Austria, which is the leader of the organic production. They have 26% now. there are countries like Estonia, like Sweden, like Italy, also with high level of the organic farming. They want to increase also in the future.
You mentioned other member states, and I know there's an action plan there. What could Ireland learn from other member states that you've seen in terms of increasing its organic plan?
You know, that's I think that the lesson for the all, not only for the Irish farmers, is that we need to make our agriculture more sustainable, more resilient. That is the owner of this farm told today the very, very important thing, that we need to think about the next generations, how to protect our land, how to save the potential of land for the next generations. We need to think about the future of our food security for the next generations, not to produce intensively now.
And we have Gillian Westbrook, who is the CEO of the Irish Organic Association here. Gillian, do you have any questions for the Commissioner or any observations that you'd like to make?
I suppose the main question for us would be, I know we've always go back to the rhetoric of the marketplace, but it's just making that next step to get more promotion and more support for promotion. We've found in any range of organic products, once we get it to the shelf, it very much sells. It's not difficult to sell the product. It's actually making that next step. So I appreciate we have a strategy group that's trying to get all of these various actors together in order to sort of get those synergies that is required. I think it's going to be quite a challenge, but it's not insurmountable. I think it can be done. But from your point of view, where do you think the main focus should be in Ireland, and looking at Ireland, where do you think we should really focus our efforts in terms of getting an increase of organics? Would you give it open it up? Would you specifically look at dairying, for example, because that's very small?
Yes, that's you know that we have the organic farming action plan prepared last year on the European level. We have the different situation across the member states, and it's necessary the individual approach to the all member states. But I think in Ireland is the country with the very strong two sectors of agriculture. One is the milk production, of course, the dairy sector, and another is beef production, the cattle farming, and also there is, I think, the potential for the organic farmers specifically in this animal sector. I think that for the people now there is more and more important not only the quantity but quality of food. People want to know how the food was produced, about the impact for the environment. During the COVID-19 pandemic, we observed that demand for the organic food was increased more than demand for the conventional food. This is the space for the market is very important, and in our action plan, the first position is to develop the market for organic food, that to give the priority for the organic production. This is possible, for example, the public procurement procedures to supply to the public canteens. European Union is open for all types of priorities for the organic food. That's in the public procurement procedure. It can be one of the instruments. Promotion is very important. I can compare the situation that in Denmark the consumption of the organic food per capita is 300 euro per year per capita. Like in other countries, like unfortunately my home country Poland, it's only 4 euro per one consumer. There is difference between the economic situation of the people, but not so high, and there is a space for to increase the organic food. I think in Ireland this is also opportunity to produce organic food for export, not only for local consumption, for export. I'm sure that the organic farming has good perspective in the future.
Okay, and speaking of organic food, we better let you enjoy some. There's organic milk and organic tea. Thank you very much. So Gillian Westbrook, the CEO of the Irish Organic Association, the Commissioner just spoke about public procurement there and canteens. How does that sound to you?
There's in and around 66 to 70 million euros a year is actually going into public canteens, so be it the Department of Agriculture, hospitals, schools, prisons, that sort of thing. So there's a huge opportunity there for the organic sector. One of the criteria that you have in the EU, under the EU guidelines for public procurement, is that organics gets a very high criteria points. So it's something that certainly the industry really needs to take seriously here at looking at that. You're not displacing other products, and you're not importing products or anything to get that organic fulfillment. You can actually do that here in Ireland. I ran a project some years ago actually demonstrating how that can be done on a small scale as a pilot study. So now that project really needs to be rolled out on a much bigger scale. But before, the European rules used to say that you couldn't restrict it to local, but now they're being much more flexible about that. So that's an even bigger now incentive. Public procurement is certainly something that's really launched organics in Denmark in particular. They have up to sort of 90% organic ingredients in their nursing homes and all those sort of areas and municipal areas. Also in the likes of Italy, for example, in Milan, they have a fantastic school meal project there. But one of the key differences here is going to, obviously we don't do so many school meals, but I appreciate they are looking to do that in the future, and that's a really good place to start.
So for example, if there was a school meal system in Ireland more widespread, that most of the food in those school meals would be organic, or for nursing homes or for hospitals or hospital canteens, that a lot of that food could potentially be organic in Ireland.
Yes, indeed, and I mean certainly in the one in Rome, actually, another project that they did in Rome. An interesting thing there was it was about 10 years ago when I looked at the prices. In the United Kingdom, for example, they were allocating around 75 pence sterling per child, whereas in Rome they were allocating €3.27 per child. So it's not just because it was organic or anything that the price went up. It's actually about getting quality and about defining really good local food. But what they did in actually both in Milan and Rome is that they got this whole food provenance together with it as well. So the food that you were getting was part of the educational system, and that's something that we can really learn from here in Ireland. We do import products into Ireland that we do produce here, including beef, etc. A lot of it goes into the catering sector, so it's a very strong opportunity here for Ireland to actually see some of those supply chains and actually add value to what they're doing.
So there's still some hustle and bustle around, and not only have we had the European Commission here today, but also Minister for Agriculture Charlie McConalogue is here as well. Are you enjoying your cup of tea? There's organic milk and organic tea, organic coffee, actually, is it?
Yeah, and I don't know if the home baking is organic, but it's definitely is it all organic?
No, absolutely.
But it's definitely very tasty.
That's your wife, Eddie, isn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah, it comes from a line of bakers in Germany, so it's all certified organic. Yeah.
So it's not often that a farmer has the Minister for Agriculture here to ask a question. So Eddie, go on.
It's a pleasure to have the Minister here. It's a pleasure. I was just asking the Minister about colleges and places of learning for organic agriculture. I know I did a work experience in Teagasc in Athenry, which I believe is not organic anymore. So I was wondering what's the replacement for Athenry.
You're getting Eddie to ask all your hard questions, Hannah. I think research into organics is something we have to invest more in, and we are investing more in. And there's really exciting potential and feedback and research in terms of the results that's coming through. So, like even in your non-organic farms at the moment, the movement in that direction is very strong. So you see the increasing adoption of clover, the increasing adoption of multi-species sward, and of course with Minister of State Hackett, we've announced the scheme this year to support both of those as well. And it was interesting to see here in Eddie's farm today the organic hay meadow on a field which is he's starting to cut, and really strong crop in it, really strong crop, and very strong with clover. So, and the actual assessments and the research is underway at the moment is showing that with clover and with multi-species sward, you can get the same output in terms of grass productivity and actually really strong Thrive. In fact, improved. We're waiting for results to be verified, but it's showing potentially improved Thrive, improved earlier kill out rate. Under, with minimal fertilizer, and indeed with multi-species sward and that with none.
There's definitely a lot to learn there, and there is actually going to be a Masters in Organic Agriculture in WIT from I think September this year. So there are things happening, and I think that crossover is happening as well. I guess something your Commissioner touched on was that Ireland's target for organics is 7.5% by 2027. Yeah. The EU then target is 25%. I mean, is that a huge disparity there? Should Ireland be more ambitious?
Well, it's a really big one, but I mean, our target is to get to the European average. That's where the 7.5% figure comes from. Now, Europe, in relation to their recent plans, have set a new target for across Europe of 25%. But of course, for some of those member states that are already high in relation to their area under organic, if you're at 20%, reaching 25% is a quarter of an increase. What we're looking to do is almost quadruple our area under organics, which is a big challenge, but it's one I think we can do. And listen, we'd like to go further than that in due course, but I think as a medium-term target up to 2027, that 7.5% target, if we can reach it, would be a really good start. And we have put the funding in place, so we have a 5-fold increase there now with working with Minister of State Hackett, who is leading out on organics. We have allocated that 250 million between now and 2027.
I guess, but I mean, the CAP plan came back from Brussels, Ireland's CAP plan, and it said that it wasn't ambitious enough. So have the civil servants, has your department gone back to the drawing board, and is it looking at that, and is it going to make it more ambitious when it sends it back to Brussels?
Well, I think every member state would have got the similar responses back in terms of seeking increased ambition. But of course, the key thing...
Organics was highlighted in the Irish plan as needing to be more ambitious, even though your department had said that you already were being quite ambitious.
Yeah, well, I mean, what we would say to that, I mean, we'd point out where we're coming from and the fact that we want to make massive progress, and the fact that we've increased the funding 5-fold. So we've 5 times more funding now for organics in the upcoming CAP than we had in the outgoing one.
Is funding the issue? Is it not the barriers? Is it, say, the TAMS for organics is going to be 50%? Could not have been 60%? Or the level of payments has been criticised for conversion as well, in that even though there are quite a lot of organic beef farmers there, they're still lower than the organic dairy farmers or tillage farmers will be in conversion next year. Could the payments have been higher, and could things like TAMS have been better for organic farmers?
Yeah, well, I suppose it's about striking an appropriate balance. We are putting the payments up in the upcoming CAP. But like, if we go back 2 or 3 years, there were applicants for organic schemes and they weren't able to get in because the funding wasn't there and there was a ranking, etc. So the situation is now the door is open and we're trying to encourage people and invite people through that door, and we're out there pointing out the opportunity that's there to people. And I think the other thing is we're seeing from the crisis over the last couple of months in terms of food supply chains coming out of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the impact that's had in relation to increased cost inputs, what we're seeing happening in fertilizer and feed prices as well, that's causing everyone to think more as well. And like we already had a transition underway which we were pushing hard at government level, which farmers were looking towards of more utilisation of clover, more utilisation of multi-species sward, significant, everybody getting to the stage where they're testing their soil. But I think the challenges there now will see people look at that even more, and provides the opportunity for us to build more momentum around that. And I think the key message I'd have for farmers is the opportunity there to be profitable. If they go organic, you can reduce your costs, you can be quite productive, particularly in grazing platforms. And bottom line is you can improve your profitability while and also meet a market need. Like people are increasingly want to buy organic produce. We see that domestically in relation to the oat market. Do you
have any organic produce that you use every day?
Well, I have my porridge every morning is Flahavan's jumbo oats, so that's the way I start off, and it's a great, Irish oats are a great product. But there's a consumer demand there for them. We, as a grass producing nation, we have a really good starting point in relation to our food production system compared to international peers. But we don't have the foothold in the organic market that we should have that reflects that. So I think there's great potential there, and I think a lot of Irish farmers have the potential to go organic and are not that far off it at the moment, but with applying organic practices could be that. And I think it's a market we'll see grow in the years ahead, and I think it's one we have to be at the forefront of as well. And we certainly haven't been before now, but there's a step change involved in that. And I think there's a change of attitude happening as well. And a lot of these things are about gathering momentum, letting people see that it can be done, and move into a situation where you have scale with it. And that also helps in terms of the developing the market, because you need to have a bit of scale. And for too many of our products at the moment, we don't have that, and we need to get into that space.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Hannah. Thank you.
So the Commissioner has been and gone, and the family is just left here. But if podcast listeners remember, we had an update on crops earlier in the year from two very special guests, and we have those special guests back again. So could you introduce yourselves just for the listeners?
I'm Saoirse Kiernan. And I'm Garrod Kiernan.
And we have another third one here.
Hello, I'm Brian Kiernan.
Okay, so we have all the Kiernan children here. So I remember last time we were talking about weeds and we were talking about what crops were in the ground. So how have the crops been getting on?
They've been getting on good so far.
And are there any in particular? Do you have any concerns about any of them?
No, not really. They're shooting up now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you have on the farm?
We'll be mainly now oats, organic oats, and there'll be organic beans and hay, mainly grass crops, and they'll be sold all over Ireland.
Garrod, you were very good on your crops earlier, so are you watching the oats growing at the minute? How are they getting on?
They're getting on, yeah, they're getting on really good, yeah.
And in comparison to other years, when do you think you're going to be harvesting them?
I wouldn't really know. 1 or 2.5 months, something like that. Yeah.
Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, now, thank God now, there's actually looking like to be a lovely yield. The bean fields are sprouting up absolutely brilliantly now, and the oats and all, and there's a beautiful yield of hay out there now that the Commissioner was looking at earlier on, and it seems to be coming up great, it does. And I'd imagine now, I'd say could be cutting hay now in 2 weeks' time now, easily, if we get the weather. It's all to do with the weather now, and hopefully we'll be heading off the festival, so hopefully we get the hay in. And I'd say now the beans, they're coming up now, and even I see some other farms now, they're like, the oats are heading out and all now. But I'd say now it'll be within a month or two, we should be out to the combine harvester now.
And who will be driving the combine? Garrod, are you putting up your hand there, Garrod, are you? I think we might need stilts for you to get to the pedals on the combine, would we? Yeah. Maybe for a little while anyway. Right, well, thank you all very much, and best of luck with the harvest. And I'm going to chat to your parents now in a second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're here now, Swantje. It's your farm. You're farming it here with Eddie, and you showed the Commissioner around, and you had some points that you raised to him that were quite important, I guess, for all farmers. Would you just share what some of those points were?
Well, for us here, it's really important that we're not just a farm, we're a family farm. So everything is about family. It's really important for us that our kids can freely roam the farm at all times, because we don't spray, there's no risks in that. And it's very, very important for us that we have great biodiversity on the farm. We see lovely species like, for example, cowslips come back to our farm. Now, cowslips haven't been on the farm for donkey's years, really. We have them back now. We're very proud of that. We're very delighted to see them. And we have them here now for our kids to cherish and to look after. We have great wildlife on the farm. The farm is run very sustainably. So as going forward for the future, that can be basically endlessly kept up, and our kids can keep doing what we're doing, and they'll make changes, and it'll be all slightly different, but it's sustainable and it's good for the environment.
And I guess from the Commission's point of view, there's a target there for 25% of land to be farmed organically by 2030. Ireland's target is 7.5% by 2027. I mean, does that disappoint you slightly?
It would all right, but sure, everything takes time. Everything has to develop, so we have to give ourselves time as well to get there.
That's it. It was a very, very busy day, very busy podcast.
Very busy. The head is not working anymore. I might just say that it was actually lovely to meet the Commissioner. He was a very nice man to meet and to talk to. So overall, this has been a very positive experience for us here, and we feel very fortunate that he came out and visited the farm.
That's lovely. Well, Swantje, thank you very much, and thank you for hosting us here on the farm. It's been a great day, and we thoroughly enjoyed ourselves, and I've no doubt the Commissioner did as well. But for everyone back home, you've been listening to the Organic Matters podcast, brought to you by the Irish Organic Association. And if anyone wants to listen to other podcasts or find out more about organics, go to www.irishorganicassociation.ie. And Grode is going to say goodbye to everyone. Go on.
Bye.